Love is Blind Season 5 contestant rankings list, guys. Welcome. Guys, I do have to say really quick, trigger alert. What I say, trigger alert, okay? Guys, I do know that this is a reality show. I'm not judging these people. I don't know these people. I'm going off of what was said on camera, during the pods, on dates, barbecues, parties, in private. I'm also going off of the reunion, okay? Now, guys, I understand that some people are going to say, oh, this person had a bad edit. This person had a bad edit. Look, for every person that complains about that, there is reality even in bad edits, okay? Because they can't really CGI in you in a situation, okay? Or maybe they can now with this AI. But let's get straight into it, guys. So this is how we're ranking it, A, B, C, D, F. And we're going to start off with Miss Taylor. Now, guys, I have to say that even though Taylor wasn't on the show for long, and I thought she handled JP excellently, and she was looking like a bombshell at the reunion. I mean, goodness gracious, she was looking like a throwback Marilyn Monroe, okay? And she held it down very classy. I like how she addressed JP. She said what she had to say, but she kept it very classy. And so I got to give her an A. Now, I don't know Taylor, but based on the show, she did her thing. She broke up with JP like a lady. She handled it very maturely. I got to give her an A. Now, JP, man, I'm not going to lie. I initially liked this guy. Let me say that in the pods, he seemed very interesting, talkative, engaging. You could see even footage of him smiling, right? But outside of the pods, he was just awkward, and he just looked defeated. And I don't know if it's because, well, I do know. I think it's because he just wasn't attracted to her, okay? He said that the makeup was off-putting. And listen, if JP, who's now in a relationship, supposedly, with a woman for a year, if any fellas out there are single, if this dude who's practically mute can get a girl, and no shade to the mute community, but if he can get a girl, I mean, there's hope for anybody. But I gotta give JP an F, okay? He's the first F, and the reason why is, like I said, the guy just didn't know how to have a conversation, and he just seemed flabbergasted. He just seemed like he was just intimidated, or maybe he just wasn't really attracted to Taylor. And if he's not, I gotta wonder what he is on, okay? Now, the next person is Johnny. Now, initially, I like Johnny's vulnerability. She is a sweet girl. But then the fact that she lied repeatedly really turned me off. She lied about, Chris and Izzy to them. She inverted it. And then she lied again at the barbecue. And then on top of that, she was talking smack about Stacy in the pods, as well as Izzy. And I understand she's salty and stuff like that. However, Johnny's a manipulative woman, and the fact that we saw her lie multiple times, I gotta give her a D. I gotta put her in the D category, okay? Now let's talk about Chris. So Chris was a dude that was really holding it down. He liked Johnny a lot, right? But come to find out, Johnny preferred Izzy, and then she told Chris she broke up with Chris, but then when Izzy didn't want Johnny, then Johnny wanted to come back with Izzy. Now, I thought that Chris was a great guy until the reunion. You found out that he ghosted Johnny, and you guys know I gotta deduct a point for ghosting because of the fact that, ghosting and flaking is trash. The fact is that he did date Johnny after the pods, and the fact that he ghosted her doesn't sit well with me. I would have put him in the A category, but I gotta drop him down to a C, okay? I gotta drop him down to a C because of the fact that, number one, he walked away, but then that would have given him an A. But then when he came back with Johnny, that dropped him to a B, and then the ghosting dropped him to a C, okay? Now we have Uche. Now, I mentioned that Uche just had bad flack on the show because of the fact that nobody liked Uche. And a lot of people think that Uche is the villain, okay? I do think that Uche was telling the truth that Lydia is, a stalker. I believe that, having dealt with a stalker myself. One thing I just didn't like about Uche, though, is the way that he came off in that barbecue was just cringe. So he was trying to plead his case to the women, and then he started yelling at Miriam. That wasn't a good look, okay? Because women always are going to stay on code, even when they know another woman is wrong. And I think that Uche, then he got spun around the block when he talked to Milton. And then also at the reunion, it was exposed that he was doing some funny style texting. I think Uche is, a perfect guy on paper. He's a lawyer. He's in great shape. He makes great money. But Uche, I know a few guys like this. Because Uche went to law school and he probably went to school a lot, his social skills lack tact, okay? So socially, he may be awkward and he doesn't understand how to read the room and engage people in a tactful way, which is very obvious. So I got to give Uche a D. Now I'm saying I got to give him a D. I thought, it's not that I hate Uche. I like Uche, but I think that Uche is one of those people that his attitude can rub people the wrong way. He can be a bit condescending. However, he does seem like a likable guy, but the reality is socially he lacks awareness and mastery, and that is something that he needs to work on, social calibration, okay? Now, Aaliyah. I liked Aaliyah off rip. I like the fact that she did poetry, something that I did in college. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. I think Aaliyah got shafted. And like she mentioned in the reunion, she just, she lost that opportunity because of Uche and Lydia, whatever Game of Thrones weirdness that they got going on, okay? I do think that Aaliyah shouldn't have ghosted Uche. I had to deduct a point from that. And this is one of the things that I hate in our generation here with millennials. Instead of working things out or trying to fight for it, people are just quick to ghost and flake. And it kind of irks me that concept has actually bled into the show. But anybody who's out here dating, that flaking is very common. But the fact that this has bled into the reality show just shows you how bad flaking and ghosting has become in this era of dating, right? So I would have given Aaliyah an A, but because she ghosted Uche, I gotta give her a B. I do think that she handled herself very well at the reunion, and you could tell that she did not care for Lydia at all. I do think that Nick and Vanessa should have delved deeper into that, but they they of course missed the opportunity like they always do. Okay, let's go to Lydia. Now, Lydia is a wild child, but Lydia, look, I gotta keep it real with y'all. The whole Uche-Lydia story on how they got there is very sus to me. Is she a stalker? I do believe she might be. Did her and Uche plan this? I think they may have had a conversation. But the whole story is just very sus, and we know for a fact, like Aaliyah called it out, she went in there and she said, oh, you said that you had a feeling that you might run into somebody. I think that Lydia is foul for how she sabotaged Aaliyah. She said that she was just trying to look out as a sister, but the whole thing is just foul manipulation to me. You befriended her, you acted like you were a sister, and then you gave her all this information, crossing boundaries and such. I gotta give Lydia an F. And I like Lydia, don't get me wrong, I do like some of her personality traits. She's fun, she's bubbly, but the whole Uche Aaliyah situation, how that came about, was just very messy, and because of that, I gotta give her an F, okay? I'm just being honest. All right, now the next person up is Izzy. You know what? I wanted to like Izzy initially. I thought Izzy was like the smooth player, maybe. And you know what? I do commend Izzy for being able to open up and being vulnerable and whatnot. Now, I'm not gonna make fun of him for crying. However, I do think that Izzy should have been transparent about his financial situation ASAP. It did make him look a little sus, like he was looking for a sugar mama. I do think that Izzy, though, is not ready to get married. And I think that at the end of the day, Izzy should have picked Johnny. But then also, I don't like the way that Izzy attacked Johnny and whatnot. And I just don't, it seems that wherever there was drama, Izzy was just always there, okay? So with Izzy, I gotta give him a C-. I gotta give him a C-. I think that Izzy, how he handled himself at the wedding was very classy. Even with what he said afterwards with the "you 33 years old, 45," look, he just was in his feelings, okay? But at the end of the day, I thought that Izzy needs to focus more on himself before he's worried about getting married. And matter of fact, the fact that he, kissed Johnny, I gotta give him a D. Sorry, I forgot about that. This dude, oh yeah. See, and this is why I can't respect Izzy for that. Because you were talking about, you railed her, you got her, you sketchy. But then you talked to her for an hour and you kissing her? You're a D, man. Forget the C-. We'll give you a D+. Okay. Now, Stacy. I love Stacy initially. Stacy just seems like a girl's girl. She knows what she wants. You can tell that she has standards. And you like a woman that, takes care of herself, right? However, it became apparent to me very quickly that Stacy suffers from what I call Zanab syndrome. What is Zanab syndrome? Well, in the pod, Stacy's fun, bubbly, jokey. But outside of the pods, she's just, very serious. That behind the eyes look. She even seemed at times emotionally unavailable. And the way that she went at Johnny was very nasty, mean girl spirited, okay? And of course, there's been a lot of controversy about her being materialistic. Because remember what Daddy said, love is blind, I get that, but love sometimes wants to fly first class, Her dad was cool as shit. Her dad was trying to give Izzy the heads up, but Izzy was too goofy to realize, okay? I think that at the end of the day, while I understand that Stacy has standards, and I know that's what a lot of YouTubers are saying, I think that Stacy has a tendency to be condescending and look down on people that don't make as much money as she does or more. I can give you a couple examples. The example when, come to find out, Izzy never went to Nice, right? France. She made fun of him for that. Or the fact that Izzy likes Chipotle and didn't have a passport, right? These things really don't matter, but for some reason, Stacy would keep bringing that up as like a sticking point, right? And also, Stacy's history in the pods that she's mentioned that she's used to dating 45-year-old rich men. To me, that would be a red flag because that would make me wonder, like, yo, are you on that sprinkle time? You know what I'm saying? So, I'm gonna give Stacy. I gotta give her an F, okay? Now, once again, I do respect the fact that Stacy's a hustler, that she works hard. She's a beautiful woman. I'm not going to deny that. But Stacy's personality is just one of those things where I don't think that even if Izzy would have been able to marry her, nothing would have been good enough because Stacy is the type of woman that's always looking for flaws and mistakes. And if you're a man, if you've ever dealt with a woman like that, that gets exhausting, right? I do think that Stacy eventually will find and marry a rich man, but if she wants to keep said rich man, she's gonna have to act accordingly. You feel me? Okay, last but not least, Milton. Milton is probably the most interesting character of the show. Why? His character development, in my opinion, was the best that we have seen all season. At first, when I watched Milton, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think he was gonna make it. I thought, okay, he might be a bit corny, but as the show progressed, Milton really flourished. And I think that between that scene that we saw how Milton dog walked Uche was the best scene of the season. It was a masterclass in positive masculinity. It was a masterclass on how to handle yourself as a man. It was a masterclass on how to be unbothered, okay? And the way he handled Uche in that scene is something that you don't even see grown men do in their late 30s or early 40s. And he handled it like a boss. And the fact of the matter is, it's when Uche thought, okay, well, I'm the smartest guy in the room, but then you meet somebody that's intelligent, and he ran into Milton. And I also thought he was well-spoken and articulate at the reunion. Yes, he did speak for his wife, but he was, but he made an excellent point to Aaliyah. And really, this guy is wise beyond his years, and you can just tell that Milton is going to be a fine young man. I wish that, women that watch the show would give Milton more of a higher point. Now, there's talks that Milton is emotionally cold or repressed. I do think that he's aware of that, but I also think that he regulates his emotions through his logic, right? And I think that Milton, you look at Milton now, when he was at that show at the time, he was 24 years old, already making six figures, already got a master's degree. On paper, Milton is the perfect dude. And then not just that, but how he deals with other people, he's perfect as well. Okay, now I know the cleaning tidbit is a turn off to a lot of women, but guess what? By the time Milton is 35, he'll be able to hire a maid to do the cleaning for you. You ain't never got to clean again, okay? But I will say this. Is it really shocking that a 24-year-old isn't cleaning? That doesn't really shock me, okay? I will say that Milton is the best man on the show. I'm going to put him in the A category, okay? I thought Milton was just leagues above all the other men. And that is saying something, because this season, the men were very underwhelming, okay? Even last season, we had some men that were mid, but we also had guys that were A tier like Brett, right? And we also had Zach, who's a good dude. And Kwame, don't forget Kwame as well. I know a lot of people don't like Kwame, but we had a solid showing of men last year. This year, though, the men were just very, very underwhelming. And let's keep it real, the women were underwhelming as well. Outside of Taylor and Aaliyah, I really can't, if I were to run into any of these women in person, I would have to run the other way, because of the fact that you're dealing with Johnny, manipulative, liar, Lydia, manipulative, liar, Stacy, materialistic, high maintenance, Aaliyah, kind-hearted, sweet. I think Aaliyah and Taylor, just bubbly personality, bombshell, you know what I'm saying? But Aaliyah too, beautiful. I mean, so you do have the two women up here on top, but really, if you look at most of the cast, is D's and F's. You know what I'm saying? I just wasn't really feeling most of the cast. I wanted to put Uche in the C category, but yeah, you guys let me know what you think of these rankings. Where would you rank the people at, and why? It's your boy, and I'm out. Peace.